Good morning. You're listening to Central Wisconsin's 24-hour information station, AM 1320 WFHR. It's time now for the Morning Magazine, brought to you by Comfort Air Heating, Cooling, Plumbing.
Welcome, everyone, to Morning Magazine for this October 20th, 2021, 10:07 on the clock, and your host, James J. Malouf, behind the microphone. At 10:30 today, we're going to welcome in Amy Pierce from Lakeland University. Looking forward to catching up with her. Right now, as we do once a month, we have Wisconsin Rapids Mayor Shane Blaser in with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, James.
Good to have you with us, Shane. Thanks for being here. Also want to thank our friends at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. We got Kev here. Good morning to Kev and all of our friends over there. Appreciate you guys. So, Mayor, how you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Good to hear. Things going smoothly over at the office?
Well, we try.
Yeah, it's politics, so that's a loaded question to ask, especially where I'd like to start today.
Okay.
I was recently reported that you have unveiled a restructuring of the city's public works department. And I just want to rip that Band-Aid off, get kind of into it, give you a chance to kind of voice this a little bit. I have not heard much about this, to be honest. I've done a little reporting on it. I've done some homework. I haven't heard much from the community, which is kind of rare, as you guys would know. Usually, if there's something going around in the area, everybody's talking about it, or there's at least at the water cooler some talk. I haven't heard much about this.
Yeah, I think there's been a little bit. There are some people that have strong opinions one way or another, and I've been here a year and a half, and I think I was telling Kevin before we came on air is, I can't come in and want to run for a position and then maintain status quo. That's kind of, I think, defeating the purpose. And so, I've kind of been watching this last year and a half, and I decided that I needed to make some changes there, and here we are. And so we're still trying to work through those changes. Nothing's finalized yet, but
One thing I do remember hearing from the community quite a bit about is when the race for mayor was going on, the majority of people that I heard that wanted to vote for you and talked about you was checks and balances, was getting things more in line, was taking care of debt, all of these, that stuff. So to me, this seems like what people were asking for a little bit. Again, on the surface, it comes across that way. Why do you feel that this is a smart move to make?
Well, and I've read some things online about budgets and things like that, and it's really not a budgetary decision. I talked to some business people. You want to invest money in areas that make sense to invest that money in, but it's really about, I think, efficiency, work operations, just the general cohesiveness of City Hall and that operations. And I think, change is always tough, and there are people that don't support it, which I understand, but I wasn't elected to do that.
You're not. It's not a popularity thing necessarily. It's something you're here to do a job. I respect that about the way you've approached the position. I think many people in politics look at it as a popularity thing, and all they're focused on is getting reelected. You're here to get things in line.
That's what my position is, and I'm not looking for my next career or a full-time job,
right.
Or I'm doing what I think is best for the community and and financial responsibility also. But it's not always popular, and I'm fine with that. Is
that where you're coming from on this angle, of why you think this is a positive for the government for around here, for why you think this is something we should do? That the financial end of it, those ends.
And I think on the financial end of it, it's not necessarily the cost for positions, but it's more about the operational aspect and accountability, efficiency, and those type of things.
When it comes to pretty much anybody, no matter what walk of life you have or what job you work, chances are in the last 5 to 10 years, there's been some condensing going on. We've got a lot of jobs in many different fields that we know don't exist anymore. It's not that they necessarily, the position doesn't exist. It's been kind of taken in by another position. And that's going on in almost every industry around the country. It's not too surprising to see that happen with government.
Yeah, sometimes we don't really question much when we want to create positions and grow government, but if we want to shrink it a little bit, then the sky's falling, and we don't necessarily. I don't believe that we have to grow government to provide great service, and shrinkage happens, and it's okay. And Wisconsin Rapids has over the years been shrinking, and you may not see it, or it definitely will not be as called out as much as it is currently. But positions aren't filled. I'll bring it up, Kevin. When I first started, there was 3 people at Community Media. Now there's 2, and it's just because of the work assignments under my administration aren't quite the same. And I wanted to give the Community Media, because today is Community Media Day, and we want to make sure to acknowledge that I want Community Media to be out in the public and provide programming that's going to be great for our residents and what our residents want to see, not what I want to see.
Right on. And I'm looking forward to getting into Community Media Day with you. I saved the fun stuff for last.
Right, good,
I wanted to get the heavy stuff out of the way, and then we can have some fun in a little bit. As part of this proposal, it would also separate the city's park systems and the city's public works department. That, again, feels like a positive for both departments on the surface to me. Yeah. Both those deserve the attention they have, and having something like that seems to me give some more stern attention to those.
Yeah, there's some arguments whether or not there's, you keep hearing these silo words being thrown around, and government is siloed. You're never going to be completely overlapping, and it's just, there's so many varieties of different responsibilities within government. You cannot overlap everything. And I feel pretty strong about our park and rec system here in Wisconsin Rapids. We have an amazing park system, and I just think that it needs to have the value of being its own department, and not risk the opportunities or chances that some attention could be diverted away because somebody else feels that there's something more of a priority going on. Our parks need to be a priority, and our recreational programs are very popular in the community, and it needs to be held to that standard.
When it comes to this proposal, is there something out there, or is there anything about it that you feel the public should know that maybe they don't, or maybe just might not be hearing in the shuffle of life?
We can all judge, and I've said this a few times. We can all judge on a position or anything in anybody's job, but until you're working there day to day, you don't really know. I don't know what Kevin does all day,
right,
or James does all day. But it's easy from the outside to look in to say and have an opinion, but it may not be the case.
I've talked to a lot of our listeners about this, especially in the last 2 months. We have we have Sheriff Becker, we have our local representatives, Teston and Krugan, once a month. And some of our listeners, not so much with you and Sheriff Becker, but more with our other representatives. Well, why do you have them on once a month? It seems like you don't have something to talk about every month. It's not. The main reason we bring you guys in is certainly back in the day, this was the only opportunity for you to get information out, or one of the main ways to get information out to people instantly. Newspaper wasn't hitting every 5 minutes and such.
Right.
In today's day and age, there just isn't as much necessity for it. So we'll be looking into that next year. But what I will say is what's important to me, and I know I took on with doing this job, and I talked to Carl about this, and Carl gave me the blessing, so I'm never going to stop doing it. I want to humanize everybody. We've gotten way too comfortable with the keyboard coward, and I don't like that Mayor Blaser did this, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know a dang thing about you. I don't know anything about your job, but here I'm acting like I've been the greatest mayor of all time or whatever. One of the ways to confront that, to attack that, is by just talking to you and having you on the air with us, and people realizing, oh, he's just a guy. He's just a normal guy like the rest of us and everything, which should be common knowledge, but it is not. It is not common now. So with all of these people that we were just talking about, it's important to make that human thing a factor.
Yeah, like we were talking before here, I'm a jeans and a Carhartt kind of guy with a baseball cap. That's my preferred look. And you see me in a grocery store, you'd be like, oh boy, that's our mayor sometimes. But I'm all about, I'm just a regular guy that I just kind of fell into this position, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm okay if the community wants to go in a different direction.
Well, and I'll be honest, even if you're that person out there that didn't vote for Mayor Blaser and you don't like a single thing he's done, you should still appreciate what he's doing. This is one of those jobs where it's not like you're getting Rockefeller money here or something, or you got that month-long vacation you get to take in the Bahamas, or there's the reason people take jobs like this. I'm not talking about on the state level or nationwide level, but local government, when they take a job on like that, it's because you care.
Yeah, and it was recently pointed out to me, and I guess I never really thought about it. No matter what my politics are, or I never really talk about Republican and Democrat, because I really don't subscribe to either party. But I try to be issue based, and if people want to know what I feel on an issue, I'll gladly tell you. But when it comes down to it, no matter what, anything in government, for me, the most important part is the community members, people calling my office, making sure that those issues are being addressed or somebody's listening to them, because that's really what it's all about. And I spend my day doing that, and I try to make every day that my phone call list is empty by the end of the day, and I'll start over the next day, because that's what I believe my role, or the biggest part of my role, is.
I can't imagine it's a long list, but we can add that to the list of things you and I have in common. I'm the exact same way, the way I approach politics, the way I was kind of raised to, in a way, in the way I see it. I don't really subscribe to either party. I see them for what they are. I'm more caring about what's happening to our people, how's it helping our people, and that.
Absolutely.
Very well said. Thank you, sir. So you mentioned Community Media Day that you proclaimed. Yes. Why is this one important to you? And did you get my email about doing this? Because I love this. This is awesome.
Yeah, I think Community Media Day is very important to recognize Kevin and Joe and all the other community medias around the state, because this is our local programming. We hear from so many people in the community about this is where they get to see some sports. This are local sports, get to see their grandkids, or the people that are shut in their homes get to take part and see their church services at their church that they enjoy, and then just all the other programming that Joe and Kevin have been doing this last year, about local things, talking to Kevin about more connection with the heart of Wisconsin and events in the community, and taping some of those. And I think that's very important for our community, because that kind of connects us all together.
It's the day and age we are in now where, again, we're important here at the radio station, and we like to do everything we can for our community. We're nothing without this community, and we value that, and we will always respect that. But the visual medium is still one of those ones that is appealing or pulls more people in, and it's an important factor in this, and having that option. Not every community has something like this, and I'm darn sure not every community has a Joe and Kevin who are pros at what they do and incredibly good at what they do. Please don't tell them I said that. Their egos will get really big. No, they're really good at what they do, and so it's not just to have a public service like that, but having good public service and doing important things like that. You mentioned that you're seeing your kid's football game that maybe you weren't able to attend, the church services. These are all vitally important in their own right, in their own way.
Absolutely.
And having a day to kind of appreciate that seems like a pretty nice thing. That seems like a positive.
Yeah, and having them available, they're very much available, and they're interested in show ideas, and they're looking to be in the community. And what a great opportunity. But like you said too about this radio program is, we can come here and share immediately and give immediate updates, and it's very important to have that, because there are so many different media sources, and where do you get the most information? And as a city, we struggle with trying to cross as many mediums as possible to get information out, and there's still people that don't hear anything, and that's our struggle in government now, is we don't have those handful of sources like radio and newspaper, and then you kind of get everything.
Right.
Now there's Twitter and every other different social media app out there that you're trying to cover that you can't, and people complain that we're not being informative of the public, and this transportation utility we've been talking about for a year and a half everywhere, and there's still people that don't understand or have any knowledge about it. You just kind of run out of what to do. It's
interesting to me that it was so much harder to collect information back in the day, and you didn't hear people griping like that. But now, where information, it's fallen out of the sky, it's everywhere. You just mentioned Twitter. I can mention 5 more apps. Kev can mention a couple, and we still wouldn't cover them all, let alone TV, radio, newspaper. Those still exist. And yet people complain more than ever about the
lack of information.
And basically that the information is not handed to them on a silver platter. Like as long as I've been alive, information has always been about hunting it down. It's always been about finding facts and not just taking what's given to you, but hunting and doing some of your own reporting, really. So I think that there's some personal responsibility that is involved with that as well, that if you really want to be informed, we'll get in the game. It's not that hard. The information's out there.
Yeah, most people are willing to share it.
Yeah. These kind of things bring attention to that, too, having a community aware media day. And this is a really fun one. How did you make something like this happen?
Well, it's I work with my assistant Emily, and she's amazing. She's an amazing writer, and so we kind of talk these things out. Or I come across something that, hey, the free speech, is like we had Free Speech Week, and that's important too. And so we start talking, and hey, I think we should do a proclamation. We need to acknowledge this because to me it's important, and I'm sure there's other people that feel these things are important too. But I find it very important that even behind the keyboard haters, that's still free speech, and they have to be able to have that right to say those things, and you just can't. You gotta have some thick skin and not worry about it because that's their opinion, and I may not agree, but I respect that. At least they can give us their opinion.
Yes,
many places they can't,
and that's where I wanted to go with that because this one, as much as I love Community Media Day, there's like many Americans, there are very few things that I treasure more than my freedom of speech. One of the things that I understand about the freedom of speech is that it's not free. That there are many people, whether that sacrifice their lives for me to be able to sit here and ramble on the radio, or many other examples of that. And so every opportunity we have to appreciate the freedom of speech we have in this country is very important, I feel. And one of the ways we can show our thanks to so many of the people that we have lost to this fight, whether it's through war or other reasons. It's a nice opportunity to kind of sit back and be thankful for it. I saw a report, or Jon Stewart on his show a week ago had on some people in media, journalism, from the Philippines, from the Middle East, and that. And it's incredibly intense and scary to hear them just trying to do some simple reporting.
Radio,
right? Yeah, just trying to report on things. This one lady is right now on trial for her life because she just reported. It was just that. She wasn't even like anything controversial or anything. She was just reporting on something. Being a woman in the Philippines, being a reporter, that alone was tough, let alone what she was saying. In this country, that don't happen. I mean, there are so many wonderful examples of freedom of speech that we have every day that, for better or worse, we kind of are so used to it that we kind of get used to it and maybe not appreciate it as much as we probably should, or certainly people coming from the outside looking in.
Yeah, we're getting quite a few complaints now about inappropriate flags with profanity on them. And, I can understand being a parent and little kids and trying to explain that, but it's still, we're struggling with it because it is a constitutional right and that freedom of speech does exist. And, I can't remember the term. Somebody, one thing that might be offensive to one person may be lyrics to another. And, And we struggle with that because we get the calls and we get people really angry that, they have to see this, and, do I appreciate it? Probably not, but it's still their right and their freedom of speech. And, somebody may not appreciate what I'm thinking and saying. I'm sure that happens, but
this is more of an extreme example, but I always use this example when it comes to this. And I think it's an important one. As a kid growing up, I remember seeing this a lot. I remember confronting these people a lot, but seeing the skinhead marches or the Nazi marches or one of these kind of things. And having people tell me, well, doesn't that bum you out? Don't you hate that? And yeah, it doesn't make me happy, but I want those people to be able to do what they're doing. For one, I want to know where they are. I don't want them hiding. But also, it isn't a one-way street, freedom. It goes all directions. It's not just about what I see as freedom. It's what they do too, and they have as much of a right as I do. Now, there's a cost with that. There is some, you come out, if I come out on the air and bark about something and then I get a 20 emails telling me that they don't like that, I can't complain about those 20 emails. This is part of the game. This is part of all of how this works.
Absolutely.
But you can't have one without the other. You can't just go one way down the road. You've got to have two lanes here. And that involves being understanding of everybody's freedom of this.
Yeah, and I just go on, So I read it, I don't read it. It's just kind of way I go. But it's important that at least we all have that opportunity to express ourselves. Agree or not, that's just life. Yeah,
and really, this conversation or those conversations out there of people battling back and forth, when they're done right, we're really giving the essence of America when we're embracing freedom of speech the right way. And, you have a debate, you disagree, and you go your separate ways. You didn't act like children. You didn't act like, that or anything. You just handled it right. That's really what this is all about, is being able to have those kind of conversations, being able to share this stuff.
Yeah, in government and politics, it's about having those debates, and then it's the majority, and it's just the way it is that in our society, it's the majority. Sometimes you're in the majority and sometimes you're in the minority, and it's just the way it is.
Great days, though. Wonderful things to be able to talk about. Is there anything you want to touch on we didn't get a chance to, or what would like to bring to the conversation, sir?
No, I think today I get to go and be a part of Career Day at Lincoln High School, and so
Awesome.
there's going to be a lot of other people in the community there participating, and we're going to be available to the juniors to answer questions and kind of tell us about our careers or our past. Or I've had a few careers in my life, so I can,
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I can bring a variety of interests.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to that. That's a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the people that are going to be there presenting.
Maybe you remember, or Kevin remember, what it's like being in that junior and getting that information from somebody that actually has been through the gamut, knows what it's like. That was really game changing for me.
Yeah,
talking to people in their industries.
Yeah, and for me, it's I started out college wanting to be an accountant and came out a cop. And so it's like. It's like, wow, and
I didn't know that part. That's
I started. I got his accounting background.
Boy, that old story. It's happened a million times.
Exactly. But what? I think you just got to pursue, what you're interested in. This is an activity that we're supposed to enjoy, provide financial stability for yourself, for your families, and I don't know. I'm probably the poster child for if you're not happy somewhere, or happy doing something, it's okay to change, and pursue another passion. After my days of being mayor, there's other things I'm interested in.
Sure.
I've even thought about going back to school, and I don't know.
Good on you.
It's just, I don't know.
Life is about living.
Absolutely. That's kinda where I'm at.
It's just enjoying it, and especially. Let's be honest. You got a lot of things you're good at, man. So why not dip your foot in this? Try this out. See what it's like. Who knows? You don't know until you try, right?
Absolutely. And then if it doesn't work, you do something else. And I've embraced that in my life. And maybe that's not for everybody. There's people that I give a lot of credit to that go and do their job. You hear about people 40 years, and it's impressive. And for me, I haven't embraced that lifestyle, but it's worked for me and my family and my friends, and who knows what's next.
Speaking of the family, do you guys are looking forward to Halloween? You got you planning stuff already?
Well, I've got a daughter in college and a son who's kind of past Halloween, so I plan to be in the tree stand and hopefully bow hunting, and that's where I hope to put my mask on and go hide in the woods.
It still counts as a costume, I think.
I hope so. Yeah.
And holidays are about celebrating the way you like to. If that's how you enjoy it, more power to you. Yeah. That's awesome. And like you said, you can still be in a costume. You're still getting
exactly.
Real quick before we let you go, though, and because of this Community Media Day, I did want to take a real second to thank our friends at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media, the wonderful work that they do, the important things that they bring to our community. It's vital and important work. Please tell Joe for us, Kev, but to you, Joe, everybody over there, we appreciate you guys very much, and keep up the great work. The check is in the mail, by the way. The check is, we appreciate you, though. Thank you. And Mayor, always a good time talking with you. Thanks so much for being with us.
It's great being here, James.
We'll catch up next month, okay?
Absolutely.
And we'll have more Morning Magazine for you right here on AM 1320 WFHR.